Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana, this is baby Theodore. Theodore, yeah, say hi. If this is your first time here, I dedicate my channel to talk about makeup. I do show some makeup tutorials here, and I also talk about motherhood. Today is actually the first video that I'm gonna talk about motherhood throughout the whole video. It might be a long video, so please hang in there. Yeah, I might get emotional too because talking about his birth experience do bring some tears to my eyes most of the time. And now it's okay, right? Baby's here, baby's healthy, baby's very happy, as you can see. So I'm gonna start talking about the beginning, the time before he was born, very briefly, just so you guys can understand how things went on that day. So I found out that I was pregnant in March 2018. We were both very happy. It was a huge surprise because I had some complications that didn't make getting pregnant the easiest thing in the world, but it happened. Even my doctor said that like this baby was a miracle, that it happened quite fast. I can dedicate a video just to talk about my pregnancy because I had a pretty good one and I can share my experience with you guys. So just let me know in the comments below if you would like me to share my experience when I was pregnant. Throughout my pregnancy, me and my husband Daniel, we decided that we would do hypnobirthing. And this is also something that I can talk about for hours. So if you have any questions, if you want me to go deep into it, I also can do another video about it. But here I'm just gonna talk very quick because I know this video can be quite long. I can talk about the day he was born for a bit. So hang on in there. I hope this video is not gonna be so long. So hypnobirthing involves meditation and involves educating yourself to be at peace with your body, with your soul, so you can bring your baby into the world naturally and the most peaceful way for him and for you. It teaches you some meditation and some exercises that you can do before, of course, the day, so you can get ready for it. And most of it's about breathing and your state of mind, of course. So the breathing techniques, they do help so much. I was so impressed by it. And they do offer courses all around the world, like classes that you can take with your husband or with your birth partner. We couldn't take it, unfortunately, because here in Toronto it's something very expensive that we couldn't afford that time. So I decided to go into it, but all on my own. I bought a book from the UK, from the woman that actually created hypnobirthing, that teaches you since the beginning the history about it, why this woman created, why did she believe in the idea. It did help me a lot. You will see that it didn't really go the way we wanted to, but hypnobirthing is also about teaching you how to be flexible and open to changes, because you can plan everything like we did. I had a birth plan and everything, and my midwives knew all about it, but things just change and sometimes it doesn't go the way that you want, especially during the birth of your baby. It's just something that there's so many variations, a lot of things can happen, and for us it didn't go the way we wanted to. So as I mentioned, I did have midwives. I loved them. I had two midwives and I loved both of them. Me and my husband, we were very comfortable with them, with the care that they gave us. And when I decided to go for hypnobirthing, they went with me. They were with me. They understood, they listened, and they did pretty much everything that I wanted to. And for every question I had, they had the answers, and they made the experience way better for me and my husband. And then there is a backup midwife in case your both midwives are busy or they are in their sleeping time. So this backup midwife I never met until the day he was born. I'm gonna talk about her later on. But yeah, on December 16, a friend of mine from Brazil, she's living here in Toronto as well, she invited us for lunch. I was already 38 weeks pregnant, so I was like, well, this can happen at any time, so I don't think it's a good idea. Maybe we just will be home because I'm just waiting for it to happen. I was already on my maternity leave. We were ready to go. Everything was ready, so I was just waiting. But then she was like, Mari, I am a nurse. My husband is a doctor. So if something happens in the house, bring it on. Like, we can manage it. And I was like, okay, I hope he doesn't, but you're right. You have a point. So we decided to go. She made a lot of food and everything was so delicious that I ate so much. And I felt terrible after because I ate so much. We laughed a lot. It was super funny. It was like we had a great time. So then we went home and we did what we usually do at home. We watched Netflix. Me, my husband, my huge belly, and my dog on the couch. And that night was funny because my belly was all in one side. Like one side of my belly was almost empty, like if you touch it, it was like empty, but then the other side was like a peak. The baby was all in there. I'll put a picture here for you guys to see, to understand what I'm saying. But I was like, oh, like you're behaving funny tonight. But everything was okay, like I was feeling normal. And then we went to bed, and then at 2:30 a.m. I woke up with an urge of like just getting up. I just couldn't be lying down anymore. So I stood up, and as soon as I put my foot on the floor, a lot of water started coming down. And then for a second, I remember thinking with myself, like, am I peeing on the floor? This is weird. And then I realized that I wasn't peeing because I just couldn't stop it. It was happening. I just couldn't stop it. So I was like, okay, I think my water broke. And then my husband was sleeping, and then he wakes up very easily. So I was just like, Danny, I think my water broke. And he jumped out of bed. He literally jumped out of bed and he went away. He went out of the room, and I was like, okay, I just told you that my water broke and you left me alone. Like, what's wrong with you? And then he came back like lost, like, okay, are you okay? What do we do now? We go? Okay, I'm gonna get things ready, and we go. And I was like, no, like the water was still coming out. I was just like figuring it out in my head. Do I go to the bathroom and I make the mess all the way there, or I just stay here and the mess would just be here? So I decided to stay. And then when it started to slow down, I went to the washroom and I took a quick bath, and then the water still coming out a little bit, but then it stopped. And I just remembered that during my pregnancy, I read so many books and we watched so many videos about it, and my midwives also told like different experiences to us about like women. They have like different birth experiences. For everybody's something different. I just remember talking to one of my midwives saying that, oh, I hope I experience everything. I want to see everything how it is. So I had my water break naturally. I didn't induce or anything like that. And then when I was in the washroom taking a shower, I saw the mucus plug coming out too. And then I was fine. I took a bath, I changed my clothes, we cleaned the room, and my husband was very excited. I remember him being very excited. So 2:30 my water broke, and then at 5:20 the contractions started, and they were far apart, and they were easy to manage. And I was doing my breathing exercises, my husband with me. I had my earplugs on, so I was listening to my meditation and trying to go with it. But then things escalated very quick, and then the pain started being quite strong, very strong. But the breathing techniques, they do help a lot. Like, I was so surprised by it because I had months preparing for it. I didn't imagine that it could actually help so much, and it did. So when the pain started to increase and the contractions were very, very close together and lasting for a long time, we decided to call my midwife, and that was about 6 a.m. So you see, things happened very fast, and I wasn't expecting to be like that. So with hypnobirthing, they encourage you to do like a to-do list for the day that you think you're gonna have your baby. So our to-do list had like a list of movies to watch, comedy movies, because if you're happy, if you're releasing oxytocin, if your body's producing hormones that make you happy, they say that your birth will go easier. So I had a list of movies to watch to make me laugh. I even had laundry in the list just in case, like, you know, because going down the stairs, going up the stairs, it would get my contractions going. I thought it would happen that way, but no, nothing happened the way we wanted to. And we also planned for the baby to be born at birth center, not in the hospital. We had the tours to go visit both of them beforehand when I was 8 months pregnant, I believe, and I didn't like the hospital. I never had a panic attack in my life before, but I think I had one there. Just going into the room and seeing all those cables, machines and buttons and all of that stuff, I just didn't feel comfortable there. And then at the birth center, it was such a different experience. Like, I never heard of them before. I didn't know they existed, to be honest. And I just felt so comfortable in it. In all the rooms they showed us, all the paintings, all the decor, all the people there, they just make you feel at home. So we decided to have it there. And I also wanted to have the baby in the bathtub. I wanted the baby to be born in the water, and I wanted Daniel to pick him up, or me if I could, and Danny, of course, to cut his umbilical cord. So around 6 o'clock, I called my midwife. She said that the way I was explaining to her, things were going very fast, so she would come right away. And she got there like very quick, I think like half an hour after. And she examined me. And something I told my midwives is that I didn't want to be examined a lot of times, like just really one day had chill, because I know there are moms that they don't get examined at all because they just don't feel comfortable with it, and it's just like me. But I was like, I don't like people touching me, doctors, I just don't like people touching me. So if you can keep it to minimum, it's okay. I can still do it a couple of times, but I don't want to break the moment and stop the process. And they agreed with me. They just listened to everything that I asked, and they were super nice. They understood everything that I was asking them. So she examined me for the first time, and she said, oh, you're already 6 centimeters dilated. And I was like, what? Like, okay? This is happening? Like, really? And then she was like, well, the way this is going so fast, I recommend you having the baby here, or we can call an ambulance, and you will probably have the baby on the way to the hospital on an ambulance. And I was like, no, like, this can't be my only options, because I cannot have a baby in an ambulance. I just don't want that to happen. And having a baby in the house, and then the first thing that I said was like, we can't have a baby in the house because I need to clean the house. And then she started laughing. She was like, no, Mariana, you don't have to clean nothing. You're having a baby right now, so you don't clean anything. You just stay here. And then she said, like, just make the decision quick because we don't have much time. Calling an ambulance takes some time. And for her to set it up, everything there in the house also takes some time. So then I was like, Danny, I need you. Like, I don't think I can make this decision alone. Like, it's just so much happening in my mind right now. And then he was like, let's try it. Let's try to have it here. And I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, let's do it. I prayed a lot. I am very devoted to the Virgin Mary, and she's the biggest example if it's possible to have a baby naturally. Danny was there with me the whole time. He was like on me, like he was bringing me water, he was bringing me pillows, he was bringing me my birth ball, he was bringing me stuff to hold on. Like, when I realized the room was already all set up, the dog was in the living room, and I was changing positions a lot to see what was more comfortable for me. And then I wanted to go into the bathtub to release a little bit of the pain, and she said that she wouldn't recommend because it has to be very like deep cleaned and everything, otherwise I could get an infection and baby could get an infection as well. I was like, okay, well, what do we do next? And she was like, don't push yet, you're not there yet. About 2 hours passed, and then I just felt like an urge to push, and she was like, can I push? And she was like, can I examine you again? I was like, no, like not again, not now. I don't feel comfortable with that. She was like, okay, so do what your body is asking you to do. So my body was like, push, 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 and so I started to push, and then she was just coaching me with the breathing, when to push, and like when the contractions happen. And things just got super intense then, and then I started screaming because the pain was just so insane. And then she was like, Maddie, I really recommend you to let me examine you again one more time. I will be very quick. And I just trusted her a lot, so I let her. She did it, and she was like, okay, your baby's engaged, he's coming down, but then he goes back up, so I strongly recommend us to go to the hospital because something might not be 100% right. And then my husband was like, but let's not call the ambulance, I'll drive, let's just go. It was the longest ride of my life. It's been 7 months already, but I remember that day like it was yesterday. I remember so well. So we decided to go to the hospital. It was 9:15 a.m. She set up the car just in case baby was born in the car, but I was really praying not to. And then she was like, I just delivered the baby overnight. I can't be with you because midwives, they have sleeping times. Like by law they have a really strict schedule, so it was her rest time. My other midwife, she was in a labor, so then I would meet my backup midwife for the first time, and she came to the house too. So I met her there. Everything was fine. Like I didn't really pay too much attention because I was just focused on myself and the baby. So we went to the hospital. She went in her car, me and my husband went in our car. And then my other midwife, the first one, she would meet us there later on in the afternoon. And I was okay with that. I was fine with that. I really hoped she could be there with me through the whole thing, but unfortunately not, and it's okay. It is what it is. So we drove to the hospital. It was winter in Canada, and December is really cold, so I was wearing my hoodie, pajamas, nothing fashion at all. I just wanted to get to the hospital, and I was already asking my midwife to set up an epidural for me there as soon as I get to the hospital, because the pain, I lost it in the car. I lost it. So much traffic, so much stuff happening around you, and I remember being with my hoodie covering my face and listening to my meditation, and my husband talking to me, like encouraging me, supporting me and everything, but I lost it. I lost track of my breathing. Everything was a mess. and then I wasn't comfortable going to the hospital because that was a place that I didn't want to go. I didn't want to have my baby there, and that's where I was going. So a lot of things were happening in my mind, and it wasn't good. We got to the hospital. He got the wheelchair. I sat on the wheelchair, and we crossed the hospital, and I just didn't want to look at anything, so I covered my face again with my hoodie. And we took an elevator up to the maternity level, and then when we got there, I remembered the number of the room, 675, and that number was just so important. After, I'll get there, and the midwife was already there, and I was like, is the epidural ready? And she was like, I already asked for it, but they only have one anesthesiologist here for the morning, so it's gonna take a while, but I'm gonna bring you the gas and you can breathe in, and it helps a little bit with the pain. And at that point I was just like, give me whatever you can, because this is strong. Like the pain was so strong. At that point I was already in loss with hypnobirthing. I was so disappointed, I was so upset, everything at the same time, but I was still trying to keep my hopes up because I know the baby feels everything that you do. So I tried my best to keep calm, not to hate on anyone, just focus on my husband too, because he was just amazing. He was Best partner I could ever ask for. He went through the whole thing with me, and he was there. He wasn't just there present, he was there, you know what I mean? He'd been through everything that I felt. He was there, he did it too. And I'm so thankful for having him in my life, because I don't think I could have done this with somebody else. Daniel is just, he's my husband, he's my best friend, but that day he was also my angel, like my guard angel. Thank you, Paixão, I love you so much. So we got at the room 675. It was 10:15 a.m. and I was asking for the epidural. The epidural didn't come quick. So they do have a bathtub in the bathroom, and I was asking the midwife, the backup one, to let me go in, but she wouldn't let me, because she was like, you can't have the baby there, and so we don't have the time to fill it up, to put you in there, and like, what if baby is born there? You're not allowed to. It's not clean, it's not meant for it. I listened to her. I was like, okay, whatever. And then another lady came in the room, and she wanted to examine me. If she's a midwife, I don't even know. I didn't ask her name. She never introduced herself to me, so I didn't know. And the problem with this backup midwife is that she, through the whole thing, she never told me anything that was happening. And that made me so upset. But anyways, this woman wanted to examine me, and I was very clear that I didn't want it to. But she was like, I don't know you. This is my first time getting to know you. I need to know where you are at this point right now. And I was like, Dani, back me up here. Like, I really don't want them to examine me. I don't know them. I don't like strange people touching me. Not even my midwives. Like, I allowed them so much, you know. She was insisting so much, and the backup midwife was like, I strongly recommend you doing too. And I was like, okay, whatever. So they examined me. It was terrible. I remember being super uncomfortable. And then she said, well, you're still 6 centimeters. So what did that mean? It's like, it stopped. All my progress is stopped. Probably because the ride to the hospital, probably because I knew something wasn't right, probably because my midwife wasn't there. There's so many probabilities, you know. So, and I was just insisting so much for the epidural, because the gas doesn't really help with the pain. It makes you high a little bit for a few seconds, but it doesn't really release the pain. So I was in pain for a good amount of hours. My husband, he was there. He was bringing me water. He was remembering me to breathe, to hold on. Like, he was holding my hand very strong. He was like touching my hair, making me comfortable. He was blowing air in my face because it was so hot. He was just being the best he could. And then this midwife came with some nurses, and they were moving me around. And when they move you, when you're having contractions so strong, it's a terrible feeling. It's uncomfortable. It's so bad that you almost wish that you're dead. Not the contraction itself, let me explain this, but the moving around. And what bothered me the most is that she wouldn't tell me beforehand. They would just move me, and I would feel like a piece of meat in the bed. And then she was telling me to go pee, but I didn't want to pee. I probably wanted to, but my body was like, my brain was telling me not to go to the washroom, because I was freaking out of having my baby in the toilet. You know, those kind of things, they cross your mind when you're having a baby. So we have to insert a catheter on you so you can pee through a tube. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Like, they're gonna touch me again. But anyways, they had to do. The nurses came in. These 2 nurses, they were with me through the whole thing until the end. From there, the one that I talked the most, her name was Vanessa, and I'll never forget her, because she was also an angel that day. I am sure she was. She was like, you're gonna go through this, it's gonna go by quick, you will see. Everything's gonna be fine with you and your baby. I'm just gonna do this. It's not gonna be the most amazing feeling. You will feel something, but it's gonna go away, and it's gonna make you more comfortable afterwards. And I just trusted her. And she was so nice because she explained everything that she was doing to me. And because you can't see what's going on, so if someone's telling me, it's just better because you know what's happening to your own body. So they did what they had to do, and then they had attached to my belly something that could detect the baby's heartbeat, and something was going wrong, I guess, because no, now I know, but that thing on my belly couldn't really detect. It wasn't like getting it right, his heartbeat. They decided, the nurses decided to attach something into me to his head to get a right heartbeat rate. And then I was like, again, something else inside of me that I didn't want to. But at this point, it was for his sake, not for me to feel comfortable or not. It was for his sake. So I was like, okay, just do whatever you have to. They did it. It was okay because so many things were happening, so I just couldn't do anything. I just went with it, right? At this point I didn't have any voice. I just couldn't speak for myself because everything that I was asking, it wasn't happening. It's like they weren't listening to me, or it's just, it couldn't happen. And I told her, this midwife, please let me know things that are happening before they happen, please, I beg you. And she was like, oh, okay, I'll try to remember. And I was like, okay, she used the word try. She actually used the word try. And then the epidural finally came. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was for about 6 hours in strong, really strong pain. They gave me the epidural. They waited for it to work, and it didn't work. So apparently my body doesn't respond to epidurals. The midwife even made a joke about it, like, oh, just so you know, if you plan on having another baby, you already know the epidural doesn't work for you. So funny. And this is a perfect opportunity for you to tell me so, right? Good job. So they gave me again. So the epidural didn't work in one side of my body. That was the left side. So they gave me it again, and it didn't work 100%. It did help. I was like, my body was a little bit numb, but I was still feeling the contractions. And then I learned that my baby was in distress. With every contraction that I felt, his heartbeat will go down, but it would drop so much. And this is the point that it was very scary, because at this point it was me, my husband, the midwife, and one nurse in the room, so it was 4 of us. And then out of nowhere, and I swear to you, it was like out of nowhere, 20 people came in the room. And I'm not joking, like it was like 20 people. And when I said in the beginning of the video that remembering the room number was very important, is that before all these people came inside the room, they called for code blue in room number 675. And I knew that that number was our room. That's when I lost it. That's when I knew that something bad was happening, and it was serious. This is something I don't wish upon anyone to hear that. I just couldn't believe, but I knew that was happening, and I knew that something had to be done, and it had to be done quick. And then I came to learn that they were like students and doctors and nurses all together. So the doctor came. They were moving me around again, like side to side, to see if they could get the heartbeat and everything, just to understand what was going on. So then he explained to me that with every contraction that I had, his heartbeat would drop a lot. And then another lady came in, and she was like, before she finished what she was going to say, I already knew where she was going. She was like, oh, we strongly recommend you. And I was like, yes, to do a C-section. Yes, let's just go with it. Please, let's just do it. Like, my baby needs this to happen. Let's just do it. And then they gave me a bunch of papers to sign for the C-section, for the procedure and everything. And I remember looking at my husband on the other side of the room, and I was open to anything to happen, as long as he's born okay, as long as he's healthy and safe. But there were so many people around me that I couldn't really touch. my husband, and I just really wanted him to be there by my side. And it's really scary when people tell you that your baby's heartbeat's not really going well, because he's inside of you at this point, and your belly is supposed to be the safest place for him to be. Sorry. It still gives me goosebumps over my body remembering this day, this moment specifically, because I was super worried. I tried to keep my mind focused on my prayers, on my baby. I was talking to him internally, saying everything's gonna be alright, hang in there, please. It's very worrying. It's just because there's nothing you can do about it, you know. You just have to trust all these people that you never met before. Anyways, so the C-section was going to happen, right? So I signed the papers. These people left, so I finally could have my husband close to me again. And then they prepared me to go to this other room. Daniel could be there only after they set everything up inside. So I went in first, and the nurse that I liked, Vanessa, she was there. And then because the epidural didn't work, they gave me another anesthesia called spinal, and that one worked. That one I didn't really feel anything, like from my chest down, I really didn't feel anything. And Vanessa was there, she made me feel so comfortable too. And at this point, when I was in that room to get the C-section, then my midwife showed up. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is another good sign, like things are gonna go well now. I never had to see the other midwife again, the other one. So they got everything ready, and then my husband came in. So they had a little curtain in front of me, so I didn't see what was happening, and he had to be like right beside me. He couldn't see either. And I think I fell asleep for a couple of minutes, because he said that would last for about an hour, the surgery. And I just remember opening my eyes and the baby was already being born. I remember the cry. I remember the doctor lifting him up. I saw a little bit of him. And he said, "It's a healthy boy." And then my husband jumped and he went close, and then he came back, and this is something I'll never ever forget, because we were watching so many videos of, especially of babies being born under the water, that babies are born like squished, and then they're like blue, green, purple. They're funny looking. So I think my husband was expecting for him to be born like that, but then no, like he came to me and he was so excited. He was like, "He's actually cute." And then I just bursted in laugh. I was like, what do you mean? Like, of course he's cute, he's our baby. But maybe he was born like skin color, he was like normal looking, you know what I mean? He was there taking pictures for me, and he was saying like, he's fine, and then he will come back to me, and then he will go back there to baby, and he will come back to me. It was just so funny. Some side effects of the drugs that I had, the epidurals two times, and then the spinal, it was that I had like a shakiness going over my body, and it was something like out of my control. I was shaking like so bad. It was so bad. I remember being so strong, and a pain on my left shoulder that was like something cutting through my bones. I don't know, it was like so strong as well. So I wanted to hold my baby, but I didn't really trust my body. And then Vanessa, the nurse, she took me to a recovery room where like everything's dark and it's just you in there with the baby in the little crib. She took me there and she was like, "Hold your baby now." And I was like, "No, like I don't trust it. Like I don't want to drop my baby on the floor. I can't stop shaking." And she was like, "Just trust me. Hold your baby." And then again, I trusted her. She passed the baby onto me. I was lying down, so she placed him on my chest in a way that I could hold him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, it was a miracle that I experienced. As soon as we touched, as soon as I felt his skin and his breathing, his little heartbeat, everything went away. It was instant. It was crazy. I remember thinking, this is a miracle. I was 100% sure, because everything went away. The pain, it was so strong, like I wouldn't, like it was so strong. I can't explain how it felt, but as soon as I held him, it went away. And the sickness, it went away. Everything went away. And then she was just smiling at me, like the nurse was just smiling at me, almost like I told you so, but in a much better way. She didn't have to say anything. She was just smiling at me, and I understood. And I knew this is the miracle of life. Like, my baby's here, my baby's safe, he's healthy, and he's in my arms finally. And all of this is done. My baby's birth didn't go exactly the way we wanted to. It didn't go nothing close to the way we wanted to be honest. I did not consider my birth experience traumatizing, and I strongly believe in hypnobirthing still, even though it didn't work for us, because we went through situations that it just didn't go the way we wanted to, so it stopped on my mind. I wasn't strong enough probably to keep on with the meditation and focusing on it. I just got super worried, so I lost it. But I do believe in hypnobirthing. If we are to have another baby, I would do it all over again. I would have my midwives again, but be very specifically that I don't want the other one in the room with me. Things went the way they were supposed to, because after he was born, we learned that he couldn't be born in the house because his feet was tangled in the umbilical cord. So I am happy that I listened to my midwife, that we went to the hospital, not the birth center. I am so happy that my husband was there. I am so happy that the nurse that I had was there. It was a very hard moment for us, for the three of us. I strongly believe that that was the way it was supposed to happen, and it will never be forget. Even though it didn't go the way we planned, it's still the most, I don't think there's a word for it, but it's the most amazing day of my life. It was to hold him for the first time, to see him for the first time, to touch his soft skin. You know, it's just, yeah, it was unbelievable. It's incredible. So this is it. This is the story of my birth. Baby Theodore was born on December 17, 2018, 5:34 p.m. So the whole thing took us, what? My water broke at 2:30 a.m. to 15 hours. It was exactly 15 hours, the whole thing. So if you're about to have a baby, the only advice I have to give is trust yourself, trust your body. Be strong, not just for you, but for the baby you're carrying, for the baby you're about to meet. Because once they're here, once you meet them for the first time, it's just this. You see? It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's the most wonderful experience in the world. It's the most wonderful thing that can happen to a woman is to have a baby. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm sorry, I thought it wouldn't be this long, but if you watched to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.